Ukraine. Let's bring in Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Crawford, who joins us down the line. Good afternoon again to you, Stuart. First of all, just talk us through the significance of this explosion. It's been a long time since we've seen a car bomb explode in Moscow.
Good afternoon, Darren. Yes, it has been. Car bombs in Moscow were part of the political landscape about 10 years ago, before Vladimir Putin basically came into full power there. But it is another indication that all is not well within the Russian state. I think when you add this latest explosive event on top of all the other ones that seem to be happening around Crimea and across the border with Russia, it's an indication that things are not going Russia's way in Ukraine, and that there may be some internal dissent within Russia, within the Russian state itself, which is now coming to the boil.
And what do you think that tells us about Vladimir Putin's grip on control? Could it get worse? And potentially, can we even speculate, if it's not these Ukrainian special forces, which seems pretty unlikely, though the Russians are blaming them, who might be behind all of this?
Yeah, I mean, one could argue that if the Ukrainian security services or special forces had the ability to put sort of assassination squads into Moscow at will, then perhaps Alexander Dugin's daughter might not be the primary target that you would expect. But I think that it is indicative of some turmoil. The FSB have unexpectedly blamed it on the Ukraine. And have given details of how it was carried out. An agent with her daughter crossing into Moscow, staying a while, setting off the bomb, and then escaping to Estonia. But it's also possible that it's the FSB. It's an FSB false flag operation to try and stir up opposition to the Ukrainians as a whole, or indeed there's this new shadowy National Republican Army that we hear about, although nobody seems to know exactly what it is, but it's certainly not pro-Putin regime. It's all very murky. The answer lies in Moscow, and we may find out in due course, or perhaps we may not.
Indeed, in many ways, you could also make the argument, the very fact that if it was the Ukrainian special forces, that's a sign of Russian weakness, that they're able to act apparently with will in the Russian capital. Let's talk about the war itself in Ukraine. And here we are, in many ways, towards the end of the summer, and the narrative hasn't really massively changed, or the situation on the ground doesn't seem to have massively changed. Both sides stuck in. Yes, Russia's made a bit of progress over the summer, but they've also faced some difficulties as well.
Yes, indeed. I think we're 180 days into the war now, February 24th to August the 24th shortly. So not much has changed really over the past few months. We have
what's the time again?
An additional standoff in the Donbass, but things beginning to warm up a little bit in Kherson to the south. Although it's difficult to see who's making any progress there.
And just very finally, there is concern, though, Ukrainian Independence Day is coming about. For some reason, these kind of despotic leaders like to target these symbolic days. And there is a sense that Ukraine's somewhat braced potentially for at least further missile attacks in the days and weeks to come.
Yes, absolutely. I think that there is a real danger of the Russians trying to make some impact on Ukrainian Independence Day. And I understand that the planned parades in Kiev and Kharkiv have already been cancelled. And I think that's a very sensible precaution, because it is a focal point in the calendar which Russia might seek to exploit to maximum effect.